Hello everyone, I am Liu Yuwei from the University of Chinese Academy of Sciences. Today I am glad to share my recent work, VDGuard, DMA Guided Fuzzing for Hypervisor Virtual Device. It's a joint work done by a group of researchers from the University of Chinese Academy of Sciences and Shanghai Jiaotong University. Virtualization is a foundational technology for essential services such as cloud computing. It provides a software way to create emulated environments to support running various trusted operating systems on the host physical hardware system. The hypervisor creates and manages the virtual machines. Through this, it not only uses the hardware resources with more efficient, but also sharing the host computer's resources. Virtual devices such as the virtual NIC or virtual USB controller act as the data channel between the host computer's hardware and the just system. They handle requests from the just system to the hardware and returning the results to the just system. Because of this, hidden vulnerabilities in the virtual devices undermine the hypervisor's isolation guarantee and enable hackers to breach the host and gain access to all virtual machines running on it. The virtual devices interact with just memory mainly with DMA operations. With DMA, it could access memory quickly without a CPU interpretation. We gathered a comprehensive dataset of 71 CVEs associated with QMIL virtual devices since 2020, and 58 of them are related with DMA operations. That is 82% of them, which is the majority. In recent years, researchers have proposed several methods to detect various issues in virtual devices, and most of them focused on identifying input message formats and building effective input mutators to increase the effectiveness of fuzzing by generating valid input messages to specific interfaces. It is important for virtual devices vulnerable discovery, and our research is based on these previous works. However, a valid input is still some distance from the vulnerable passes, and DMA operation is necessary for DMA vulnerability. And we face two challenges. The first is how to abstract and extract the potentially vulnerable passes. And the second is how to leverage the collected information to guide the fuzzing test. To solve the above problems, we propose VDGuard and implement its demo. In the static analysis stage, it finds passes that trigger DMA operations and construct initial seeds based on the path information. In the fuzzing stage, it guides the fuzzing process with the static analysis result. To search the core chain, we need first understand how the DMA operation is performed. Here, we take QMIL as an example. The virtual machine firstly initializes and registers memory region for virtual device. We locate these key functions. During the initialization, the virtual machine binds the callback functions to the corresponding memory region. For example, for the NIC device tulip, the callback functions are tulip read and tulip write. And finally, these callback functions call the API functions of the virtual machine to perform a DMA operation. For QMIL, the corresponding API functions are memory region dispatch write and memory region dispatch read. With this knowledge, we set the entry point as the search callback functions and the endpoint as the DMA operation functions, and we search the call chains with the depth-first search algorithm. After we extract the call chains, we build the program dependency graph for these call chains. Based on the PDG, we extract the constraints. If these constraints are satisfied, there will be a DMA operation, and we solve the constraints and transfer them into the initial seed for the fuzzing process. During the construction, we insert the separator between the operation statement, which makes fuzzer could split the operation easily. However, we usually cannot fully construct the initial seed to trigger the DMA operation due to the complexity of the constraints. So we perform a limited fuzzing to the partial constructed seed until it triggers a DMA operation. With the constructed initial seed and the static analysis result, we perform DMA-guided fuzzing. In detail, the DMA-guided metric makes VDGuard keep seed that not only will cover more code but also trigger a DMA operation, and the DMA-guided mutator split the seed into operations by the previous inserted separator and mutates them in the granularity of the operation. To evaluate VDGuard, we collect 10 vulnerabilities with POC from QMIL within 2 years as a dataset. Each instance is tested for 24 hours and repeated for 5 times. We compare our tool with MoFuzz in QMIL, and we also apply our tool in VirtualBox. We firstly compare the static analysis part of VDGuard with the work in Black Hat, which searches vulnerable passes by the straightforward string matching method, and the result shows that our tool can search for more call chains and more potential vulnerable devices. Compared with MoFuzz, our tool could trigger more DMA passes, which makes us find more DMA-related vulnerabilities. We also evaluate the effectiveness of each component. We present the time cost to discover the vulnerability without the initial seed construction, the DMA-guided metric, or the DMA-guided mutator. The result shows that all components play important role in VDGuard. Take the result when testing Tulip as an example. Without one of the components, the performance drops, and the VDGuard even cannot find anything. Finally, VDGuard found 4 new vulnerabilities in QMIL and VirtualBox. 3 of them are assigned with CVE IDs. In the end, to summarize our work, we propose DMA-guided fuzzing, and we design and implement VDGuard, which consists of the static analysis and DMA-guided fuzzing component. We evaluate VDGuard on QMIL and VirtualBox and found 4 zero-day vulnerabilities. Thank you for your attention during my presentation. If you have any questions or would like to have a further discussion, please don't hesitate to reach out by email. Thank you.